You were talking about your respect for Israeli democracy by people protesting on the streets. What about respect for Palestinian democracy when they voted Hamas into power?
You know, in Israel, once there was a terrorist, a little Jewish terrorist organization, not a terrorist organization, a party that justified counter-terrorism, that Jews will make terrorists against Arabs. We ruled them out of law. They cannot run anymore into the Knesset. You know, democracy, and let me tell you something about democracy. Democracy is not just free elections. More important still is free press, free protest, free right of demonstration, that people can demonstrate against their own governments without being put into jail or into trials. This is what I'm proud of. The freedom of speech in Israel, which is unfortunately unparalleled yet in any other country in the Middle East, but I'm confident that in the future we will see true democracies also in the Arab world, and not just in Israel or Turkey in the Middle East.
Mr. Steintz, Qassam Brigade spokesman spoke to us a little bit earlier on, and he said that all the Palestinian factions are united in the fight against Israel. So even if someone wasn't allied with Hamas before the Israeli airstrikes, the Israeli incursion, the Israeli offensive, you can be credited with uniting the Palestinians.
Well, I think that this is not real, but you know, in any case, it is our duty to defend our people. And you know, it is exceedingly odd why we are fighting. We pulled out from Gaza. We uprooted all the Israeli settlements there. We uprooted all military installations and camps in Gaza. We did so in order to promote peaceful coexistence vis-à-vis the Palestinians in Gaza. Unfortunately, 6,000 rockets were fired into our territory, by the way, never on military targets, always on Israeli civilians. And therefore, like any normal nation, if we are strong or even stronger, we have the duty to defend our existence and to defend our citizens. It would be better if Palestinians would not vote for a terrorist organization, and it would be better if Hamas would keep the ceasefire rather than resuming rocket firing into Israel.
Okay, if your Israeli strikes are so surgical, say if your Israeli strikes are so surgical, how come more than 25% of people that have been killed, more than 25% of the over 500 people that have been killed, have been civilians?
I'll tell you two things. First, in Israel, although we have only numerous casualties, 75% so far are civilians. Secondly, I'm very sorry for any civilian casualty. But if you will compare what we do in Gaza to what other nations are doing in similar circumstances, Arab nations or America in Afghanistan or Russia in Chechnya, you will discover that the percentage of civilian casualties over there.
So is that your moral argument, that because other people have killed more people, it's okay for you to kill 500?
No, my moral argument, listen very carefully. My moral argument is that we are doing our best and more than any other nation in similar situation to minimize civilian casualties. Unfortunately, when Hamas is shooting rockets from densely populated Gaza, we cannot fight it without some civilian casualties.
How long have you been planning this incursion?
Any civilian casualty in Israel,
Okay, give us some idea. You say it's very precise.
I'm extremely sorry for any civilian casualty.
You say this is very precise and there was meticulous planning behind it, and every target is very precise. It's a military target. For how long was Israel planning this?
Look, I think for at least the last 8 or 9 months, because a massive rocket.
But you went into a ceasefire with Hamas over that period of time.
Hamas took over a year and a half.
So you obviously went into a ceasefire in bad faith. If you went into a 6-month ceasefire with Hamas, which just expired a couple of weeks ago, whereas before that you had already planned an incursion into Gaza, it shows that you didn't want the ceasefire. You were planning to attack Gaza from the beginning.
Maybe you can put it differently. During the ceasefire, only 500 rockets were launched at our territory. When the ceasefire started, Hamas announced that it's only for 6 months and they will not agree to continue it. Therefore, since this was the initial announcements of Hamas, that after 6 months they are going to open fire, to resume fire, what would you expect us? Not to prepare ourselves. Be serious. We are attacked by terrorists and we are ready to do everything to defend ourselves and to defend our people exactly like any other state in the world.
Yuval Steintz, it's been an interesting discussion with you. Thank you very much for joining us here on Al Jazeera.